Oh shit. Here we go again.
Alright guys, so your boy is back for another read-through of yet again another Batman run. I literally just finished up doing the Riddler year 1 over a month ago. Bro, I was chilling. I was so relieved to relax on the reads a little bit, considering right after Batman 89 concluded, the Ridley run, or should I say, the babyface adventures, started shortly after. After the Riddler wrapped up, I was thinking, hell yeah, I can take a break from doing these for a little while, because honestly, these videos take so long to do. But lo and behold, to my utmost amazement, I found out literally 3 days before this new series dropped that a new series was dropping, so I had to come back from my vacation of chillin' to bring forth, yet again, another fresh read-through of another fresh series. Having covered both Batman 89 and the Riddler year 1 to the fullest extent, to the best of my capabilities, and also having probably over half of my subscriber count from those videos, I feel like I now have a responsibility to continue doing these for you guys, and I've honestly come to accept that the grind never stops. I feel like doing the Riddler year 1 really improved my skills at doing these videos because, oh my god, man, I had such a blast doing that. Link in the description if you want to check those out. So I'm really excited to see where these new skills are going to bring me, diving back into the steampunk world. The original 89 run is my first time covering comics, so I was definitely really rusty, rough around the edges, and trying to find out how to properly do these videos. So anyways, moving on. From my understanding, Batman 89 Echoes is sort of building upon more ideas that Tim Burton and other directors had for their Batman sequels that never got to see the light of day due to WB. That pesky WB. Like how in the last 89 comic run, we got to see Marlon Wayans as Robin come to life, as well as Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent fall through a downward spiral into becoming Two-Face. I actually believe that for the villains this time around, they're using ideas from Joel Schumacher's sequel to the masterpiece Batman and Robin called Batman Triumphant. Joel had a vision for Harley Quinn to be played by Madonna, as well as Jeff Goldblum taking up the mantle of Scarecrow. Interesting choices, by the way, and I'm really interested to see where these ideas are going to take us. So to recap, last issue of 89, issue 6, Two-Face plunged to his death in the same way that he did in Batman Forever. I kinda just noticed that actually. Underrated movie, by the way, stop hating. And after Bruce's plans to save our crusty boy were bamboozled by Catwoman, and I guess his plans to save her as well due to his messiah complex and his deep need to save everybody but himself, she comes onto the scene at an awfully convenient time, later on proving that the cat hanging out at the manor has indeed been mic'd, and she's been listening in on everything going on with him down there. And also up in the manor as well. Something that Bat Keaton, the world's greatest detective, failed to notice. Since I gotta admit, he's just kinda blinded by that pussy though. Can you blame him though? As our boy Bruce copes with the tragic loss of Harvey Dent, he gifts Marlon Wayans as Robin, or should I say, the Avenging Eagle, as he for now calls himself. Oh man, he's still a work in progress. Well, he gifted him his hologram Batcycle to continue his patrols on the streets of Gotham. Barbs, after losing her father Jim Gordon, receives a package in the mail, not only exposing Batman as Bruce Wayne, but also giving her hard evidence to close the case that Harvey was working on to incriminate Gotham's elite, while at the same time getting offered a hand in assisting her in her future endeavors by being her Oracle. Man, I still can't get over how cringe that is. If this is Catwoman saying this, bro, I swear to God I'm out. And last we see of Bruce, he was daydreaming about living the good life of being married to Selina, having a family, his parents still being alive, both leading lives of fulfillment, devoid of all personal tragedy, torment, and uncomfortable costumes, until Alfred comes to snap him out of his delusions to ask if he'll be going out that night to follow through with his other delusions. Last we see is Bruce giving Harvey's coin a toss to decide his decisions for him, either honoring his late friend or slowly going crazy. And from there, we officially start our next chapter in the Batman '89 saga, titled Echoes. Let's dive in. We open up to a green car, screeching its way down the street, taking a hard left turn. The guy in the back seat tells the driver to turn left. The driver tells the dumbass in the back who can't tell left from right that he is going left, as the passenger tells the driver to look out, dumbass. Sounds like a car full of geniuses doing a bunch of dumb shit. Before the passenger could finish his sentence, the car smashes into a fire hydrant. Water sprays everywhere. As the guys are scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, as the cops are hot on their trail, the one guy tells his boys to grab the merch. As they make a break for it, the trio make way for the docks, somewhere they can get to on foot, and hopefully quick before, oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! It's the Bat. The one guy pulls a gun and proceeds to shoot at who he thinks is Batman, as idiot number 2 tells him, you know, maybe that's not him, but idiot number 1 isn't convinced. As he unloads a healthy 8 shots, idiot number 3 lets the shooter know that he has him and doesn't need to fire more rounds into him, and how they really need to get a move on, like right now. As idiot number 1 doesn't listen to a single thing his friend said, he goes and unloads more. His clip is empty, and tells the other 2 idiots that you have to keep firing, because even when you think the Bat is dead, even when you think that you've won, that's when he gets you. Idiot number 3 alerts the other idiots that the cops are coming. Idiot number 2 states how they can't just leave him like that, as idiot number 3 says to leave him or shoot him. It's his call. Idiot number 1, fully aware that his gun is out of bullets and has been out of bullets, keeps firing empty rounds at fake Batman, saying how he always comes back, as the cops roll up to the scene, putting them in a very bad position. You know, if this guy wasn't such an idiot, they would have been at the docks by now. But also, if this guy wasn't such an idiot, he wouldn't have crashed his car. And also, if this guy wasn't such an idiot, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now. Just a bunch of idiots doing a bunch of idiotic things. As the police pull up, they demand him to drop his gun, as idiot number 1 is thankful that they're there. What does this guy think they're gonna do? He shot fake Batman 8 times and won't stop shooting empty rounds. You're mindlessly shooting a guy. They're not in a million years gonna help you, pal. To idiot number 1's surprise, as this is the last thing that he thought was gonna happen, he gets put under arrest. Never saw that one coming. He should have ran off like his other 2 idiots, but I mean, this guy excels in good decisions, so I mean, whatever. Lieutenant Bullock enters the scene and asks what exactly he is looking at, since yeah, what exactly is going on here? Buddy Cop says it's a heist gone south. They chased after him as they crashed and took off on foot. Bullock interjects to say that the Caped Crusader really had a bright idea in intervening. Not really too bright, just a couple burnt out light bulbs though if you ask me. That's why this guy looks like this, and not this. Buddy Cop goes on to say that the lesser of the idiots got away on foot, as the lead idiot was just sitting there yapping, pulling the trigger on an empty clip like a big old dummy. An idiot killed by a lunatic. The kind of case that makes life worth living. The kind of case that makes the world spin, my friend. Keeps life fresh, keeps you on your toes, and keeps you assured that even if you think you're a little crazy, there are people out there doing things 100 times more crazier than you. Keeps the entertainment high. Just another day in Gotham City, the greatest city on the planet. I'd pay to live there, bro. The phone rings. It's Barbara's. She's trying to get some much needed sleep, but nope. Bullock has to ruin that for her. Nobody's allowed to sleep in Gotham City, apparently. He apologizes for waking her and wants to fill her in on the news of another dead Batman. This whole thing is very much reminiscent of the beginning of The Dark Knight, where the exact same thing begins. And you know what? Fuck yeah. Just another Yutz with a police radio and an active fantasy life. Same with all of these wannabe heroes, as if dressing up in a suit makes them bulletproof. Bullock makes a point of how this makes 3 nut jobs who have done this now, but Barbs corrects him to say 4. Bullock states how every time you rush downtown to go view these bodies, it makes you wonder if it'll ever be the real one. It always gets him thinking, if they ever did see the real Batman, how would they even know at this point, since there's been so many impersonators? I mean, the real one can finesse his way through any and all situations, not looking like some sad sack of potatoes with a mind full of weak delusions, no sex life, and too much time on his hands. Barbs understands that, since she can spot a fake one when she sees one. Bullock goes on to say that the real Batman vanished over 2 years ago, same time as Harvey, and the same time she started taking down crooked politicians. Awfully convenient. Bullock smells the sus as he points out how she was once just an ordinary desk cop, then suddenly one day she comes out to know all the dirty secrets of the rich and powerful, as he goes on to wonder if her father gave her a little bit of extra legal help, or if she inherited his personal masked goon. Or, maybe she fell into the genes of being a Gordon and properly stepped up to her job. Throw some respect on the name, Bullock. Barb stops him dead in his tracks to assure him that nobody, not even herself, has seen Batman in 2 years, and he should, maybe stop thinking, because you know what? He kind of sucks at that. Idiot number 1 is being interrogated. Sounds like he made a statement, saying how he experienced some sort of blackout, like as if a switch had been flipped inside his head. A switch to a broken light bulb, which sent him into a panic, where he just had to keep shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. No matter how many empty rounds he fired, he just had to keep shooting. That's all that mattered. Then everything went blank. Must be the baseline for his mind, if you're asking me. Absolutely nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Bullock tells Barbs how that is idiot number 1, and how when they brought him in, he seemed grateful to be arrested. Just, happy to be here. The man's doing the interrogating assures the idiot how they're only trying to help him remember what happened, as he pulls out photos of the man he shot in the Batman costume. Mr. De Leon, or should I say, the idiot, loses his shit entirely and throws the papers everywhere, almost like he lost control of himself. Bullock leans back and smirks. He says how he knows how criminals are cowardly and superstitious, but this guy's a little extreme, even for Gotham standards. Barbs agrees and asks on a hunch if he is a vet. She gets it right, as now he is acting like the animals he very much cares for and looks after. We catch up with our boy Alfred, living the good life, relaxing back in the mansion, watching Wheel of Fortune, drinking the most expensive wine in the manor, and enjoying the finest dinner, in which he just cooked for himself. To his attention, the manor's buzzer goes off. It is Barbs at the gate. She alerts Alfred how she needs to speak to Bruce, like right now. Alfred, being pulled away from the good life, informs her on how Bruce isn't available. She doesn't take no for an answer and says if she can't speak to Bruce, she needs to speak to him, and to let her in, like right now. As Alfred quickly changes, he pulls himself together and gains his composure, and then he greets her at the door. Like the absolute gentleman that he is, he asks to take her things and congratulates her on her promotion. The latest promotion, to be specific. Barbs thanks our pal Al and tells him how she's been trying to reach her boss all day. Sounds like typical Bruce. Aloof as fuck and always hard to reach. Classic Bruce W. She has tried to call him, email him, nothing. Al tells her how it is quite unlike him, and she says it's downright reckless given the terms of their agreement. Alfred, being the wonderful guy he is, goes to light up a fire to warm his guest as she is soaked. Barbs insists that it's no worry, but the house is cold, the fire is already laid, and how it only takes a quick moment as there is absolutely no trouble. As he goes the extra mile, Alfred pours her a cup of coffee. Barbs thanks him as he proceeds to answer her question about the whereabouts of our rich recluse. Alfred gives his utmost word that Bruce has done absolutely nothing to violate their agreement and that he would never condone, much less encourage, any act of street-level vigilantism, especially by unskilled amateurs. Barbara never imagined he would, but there's something she can't explain. How it's been 4 times now that these unskilled amateurs have been murdered by these petty criminals who go absolutely berserk at the sight of a homemade Batman costume. She wonders why. Smells like fear. She goes to say that it was 2 years ago where she was so close to turning Bruce in, but didn't. All because of the journal that her father left. He kept a detailed account of his interactions with Batman. He knew he was bending the law, and he wanted to have a full record of what happened and why, if the two of them ever got caught. He wrote that he'd often doubted Batman's methods, but never his motives. There was one thing he could never figure out, though. That why, out of all of the cops in the GCPD, had the crazy guy in the mask come to him. Gain some perception, Jim. Jesus. You're the only good cop on the force. The only cop that isn't crooked and corrupt. He believed in you and the vision that you had. Nobody else. Then one day, he went looking for Barb's baby pictures in an old scrapbook and found the answer. It was right in his face. It sent a shiver through his entire body. For a couple days, he couldn't even accept that he'd stumbled onto the truth. The truth that it was Jim who was there that the night the Batman's parents were murdered. It was Jim who gave the newfound orphan any sort of comfort in such an uncomfortable situation. It was Jim who did something so simple and reassuring as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know that the world hadn't ended. It was Jim who gave him hope. And from there he figured it out. Barbara got a little sentimental about the fact and let Bruce skate, on the promise that he'd hang up the suit and find a new hobby. And that's a promise that he kept, Alfred assures her. She goes on to say that it's been 2 years without Batman, yet there's been such an irrational fear of him that has driven 4 people to murder, brutally murder. Barbs goes to say how she likes Bruce, but doesn't trust him. She goes on to tell Alfred how Bruce never told her what happened to Harvey, but she knows Bruce knows, and then asks Alfred if he knows. As Barbara makes her exit out into the rain, Alfred tells her how he is the wrong person to ask. Barbs corrects him on how she is Captain Gordon tonight, and to tell his boss that if she doesn't hear back from Bruce by Friday, his secret's out. The cat's out of the bag. Alfred follows Barbs out to let her know that as much as he'd love to deliver her message, he simply can't. Because under some unusual circumstances, almost a month ago, Bruce, our boy, vanished. Without a trace, and without so much as a word to the man who gives his life to serving Bruce, leaving Alfred completely in the dark. He has no idea where he is, and from there, we fade. We open back up to a woman with long hair being displayed on a television screen. A porcelain mask sits snug on her face. It's Alicia Hunt, Joker's girlfriend from '89. First of all, who gives a purple crap about Batman? Anybody here, Becky? Do you give a purple crap about Batman? A nearby voice asks as another replies. Now, the big moment, Alicia. If you would... The lady that's running the show asks how at the moment, nobody cares about Batman, but they're gonna be on in 15, and she still has to get 1:42 out of the interview. The man who asked if anybody gives a purple shit about Batman says that 38 people maybe care about Batman, but if you cut that number in half, That's how many people care about the Joker, since he's been dead like 2 days after he came out onto the scene in 1989, questioning the motive as to why the fuck they have to waste half an hour of primetime television on a dead clown's ex-mistress, since a quarter of the people who care about the Joker even slightly care about Alicia, let alone even know about her. Damn, dude. The man tells Wendy, the lady running the show, to take a walk with him to talk about why this is going on. She assures him that Dr. Q always gives them a bump in the ratings and to, not worry about it. So don't worry about it. But just like train wrecks and mass shootings, he thinks Dr. Q is bent, totally fixated on Batman, the Joker, and anything surrounding persona therapy. He thinks that Dr. Q is a load of shit as Wendy says, you know what? This is actually a good interview. Did you even watch it? Or were you too busy being a bitter little bitch? He comes back and says no, he's not being a bitter little bitch, even though he wants to admit it, and questions if Dr. Q asked Alicia what the Joker was like in bed. Wendy doesn't know what to say because yes, Dr. Q did ask what the Joker was like in bed, as the bitter little bitch questions all of his life's decisions that have led him to where he is in his career and in his life. A woman is sitting backstage getting her makeup done by a punk rocker with excellent style. They're talking about how the Joker fucks. Unlike Batman, Batman doesn't fuck. But the Joker anyhow, the Joker fucks. If you ever wondered if the Joker fucks, well, the Joker fucks. You're welcome. Punk rocker guesses that he fucks like a wild animal. Only funny. Lady in the chair says how that's a shocker, and how Alicia said that he was actually very courtly, the perfect gentleman, the dream guy really, just disfigured with all of the screws loose while dressing like a deranged clown. Big smile though, warms the heart. Joker made her feel like she was on a pedestal, opened the car door for her, pulled her chair while also pulling her hair when she wanted her hair pulled. It even gave her flowers on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which shot a generous amount of acid in her face. Keeps you looking young and vibrant. The perfect guy, so thoughtful, so old school, so full of class. Why isn't every guy this way, she wonders. Punk rocker asks which lipstick she wants. Dr. Q replies with all day permanent red and comes to Joker's defense of throwing acid in people's faces by saying how all he had was just one bad day, with the toxic waste and all that. She asks if Q needs more powder. Punk rocker goes on to tell her that if she gets any paler, that she'll look like a light bulb on screen. I mean, that's probably the idea here. Being so obsessed with the Joker, she almost wants to imitate him due to her insane fascination of the clown gentleman prince of crime. She says how that's the whole idea of persona therapy. Yeah. And goes on to state how in her practice, she works with violent and sick people. But when you give them a secret face, a vehicle for all their hostility and aggression and base impulses, their normal face becomes their disguise, and that's when the real them can truly come out and shine. Violent psychopaths, caped vigilantes, lonely accountants who love riddles or not, they get lost within the identity of that secret face, or that mask per se, as all of their internal desires can be fully utilized and realized with no shame, fear, or what have you. Bro, Madonna gets it. 5 panels in, and I approve this character. She gets interrupted by getting asked how she is doing, as punk rocker goes on to say, speaking of violent, sick people, referring to the guy standing in the doorway asking the question. He tells Madonna that she looks fabulous. I agree. And goes on to ask if she is the brainiest sex bomb on TV or the sexiest brainiac, since he can't decide, being an absolute simp. But for early 90s Madonna, I get it. Chuck, I'm gonna kill you one day. And Chuck replies with, slowly I hope. She chuckles. Tonight's episode of City Beat is now on air. Dr. Q is welcomed as she is tonight's special guest. She is introduced as Harley Quinn, who brings forth an extraordinary, unprecedented interview. Harleen replies with how it's her pleasure as always, as this might not have been her first time on the show. Miss Quinzel tells Angela how for the first time ever, the Joker's consort, his confidant, or dare she say, his muse, is sharing her insights into the jokster's secret motives, his personal kinks, and the dark roots of his maniacal obsession with. All of a sudden, the broadcast is cut short. Chuck received a call about Firefly, Gotham's own Ted Kaczynski, since he is famously known as the bomber guy with the manifesto. Turns out a team of U.S. Marshals are believed to be closing in on the alleged bomber. Harleen is annoyed since she was right in the middle of doing her intro as things got cut. She angrily asks how long it's going to last. Chuck doesn't know and says all night if they're lucky, and thanks everybody on Dr. Q's episode of The City Beat since it is now being wrapped up in how it's over. Now, more annoyed than ever, knowing how she isn't going to air her interview or talk extensively into the Joker's sex life, she says how unacceptable that is. Chuck tells her how it's news, Harleen, and how Gotham's Unabomber tried to set off a dirty bomb in Central City, how he could have killed nearly the entire population of the place. They received the exclusive report, so the Joker's ex and all of the hot gossip about how he fucks can hop off of his airwaves. The mama is looking like she wants to kill him now more than ever as she is fuming. She rests assured knowing how the ACN will pay for the fact of her show getting short, knowing full well of what she is capable of after she dives deeper into her obsession with the Joker, falling through his broken and shattered psyche as she takes it on as a part of her own, becoming one and the same. Firefly is getting ambushed by the Marshals as he is spotted just sitting and rocking away within his Montana cabin deep within the woods. Months, perhaps even years of isolation away from the general population, where he has been crafting and perfecting many various types of bombs that he can mail into places he thinks are a part of the downfall of society. He spends his downtime airing his thoughts into his manifesto for the world to see, talking about the potential societal collapse due to technology, as well as his frustrations towards the general population. The population which turned their back on him many years ago and made him into the unhinged bombing arsonist that he is today. The guy spying in on Firefly alerts his teammates how they just made cable news. They are in disbelief since they are so far out in the boonies and doubt there's even cable out there. They think that the isolated man in the cabin may be in contact with someone who does, but they decide to move in. They call out his name, Robert Lowery, and alert him how his cabin is surrounded. He needs to give himself up and that they're taking him in. He's got nowhere else to go. They tell him to drop his weapons and to come out with his hands up. As suddenly, the Unabomber's cabin explodes, catching the guys off guard. One marshal is asking the rest of the team if there are any casualties. Turns out, thankfully, none. Everyone is still in one piece. The marshal says how Firefly did them a favor since he could have at least waited to flip the switch to take some of them with him in the explosion. They move in on the wreckage. As they close in, they notice how there's a lot less blood and body parts as expected, since, well, there is none. Sus. As one of the guys asks what is in the safe, as it is the only thing still in one piece. Another team member says how he doesn't want to open it, as they notice something rather peculiar right beside it. He holds something up, wondering if it was the detonator, and gets told how no, it must be some kind of motorized gizmo. A homebrew. One part rotates kinda like a turntable. A nearby marshal asks where he found it, as he gets told he found it by the chair, by the corpse. They realized it was all but a motorized rocker. It was a decoy. There was someone else, already dead, sitting in the chair, as the piece was making it rock back and forth, taking notes from the great Kevin McAllister. After realizing it wasn't Firefly, the man that they were looking for, they search every inch of the floor for more clues. A trapdoor is found. They wonder if that's where he ran off to as they open up and wonder which sad soul is trying to go down there first. They send down Zito. Godspeed. The guys wonder if Firefly has killed him yet as Zito makes it down the ladder. He replies back and says not yet and tells the boys what he sees. Just a bunch of dried goods, canned food and tools, and also how it looks like he was planning to be there for a while. They begin to wonder if there are any mummified Boy Scouts down there, and to their disappointment, there isn't enough to worry about. Maybe 3 mummified Boy Scouts. 4 perhaps? But Zito finds something of interest. He finds some kind of crawl space, a tunnel, big enough for a skinny guy or a fat rat. He gets told to get crawling, and that backup is on the way, in case, his ass gets stuck or something. They realize how they got played like a damn violin, a beautiful melody. Kestrel notifies Terrier, the man calling the shots, how the guy in the sky are picking up some kind of heat signature. Must be Firefly. Kind of funny, because if you think about it in real life, Fireflies kind of look like little heat signatures when you see them flying about. Clever. They see the Firefly moving through the woods, a few hundred meters northwest of the cabin. Kestrel knows it's the Unabomber that they see, as he says that they're now back in business. Better tell the guy in the tunnel to stop crawling before he gets stuck and his boys forget about him down there. Firefly is making a run for it with all that he has got. The guys in the sky yell down at him through a megaphone, telling him to give himself up and to not attempt to resist. As Firefly rejects orders, he gets his foot caught and takes a tumble. Classic. The guys in the sky notify Terrier to tell him how he is due north, westbound like a rocket. The guy checks their surroundings as they spot Firefly down in the clearing. They're about to shoot as a deer crosses their path. They hold their fire, trying not to kill Bambi. Respect. Meanwhile, down on his back after taking a fall in the Montana snow, Firefly shoots 3 shots in the air, giving himself away like he wants to get caught. Terrier tells his boys to take the left and the right as they are about to close in on the target. Firefly pulls out his pistol and holds it to his leg. He hesitates, builds up some courage, and shoots himself right in the thigh. He screams out in pain and proceeds to make a run for it, leaving behind a trail of blood for them to catch him easier. Or to convince the marshals that it was them who injured him all along. As they close in, they are assured that it is indeed Firefly. They stand clear in case he has any more tricks up his sleeve, since he just loves blowing things up. They secure the target as the Unabomber cries out. Turns out he has nothing on him, as the marshals are told to truss up his leg so they can take him in. That's not all. A couple of guys on the team found a cave a few feet nearby. Must be where he was headed. Full of guns, ammunition, and enough ordnance to take down a small army. That army being them. Too bad Ted Kaczynski didn't fulfill what he was trying to do. Damn. We open back up to what appears to be a psychiatrist's office, or someone within mental health, or the medical field. There's books on the shelves and brain scans scattered about on the desk. A man sits with his chair turned on the phone. He asks if the judge has signed off on something. He gets told yes, and is rather surprised at the short amount of time that took, followed up by how he is a very friendly judge. The man turns as he is revealed to be 90s Jeff Goldblum, Jonathan Crane, soon to be Scarecrow. He gets told how he's the most foremost in the field, a genius at his job, one of a kind, but humbly replies with, "Oh, hardly," but he is flattered though. He says how in his time at the VA, he did extensive work with PTSD patients, so that's how he has come to excel so much within his practice. We catch up with Miss Quinzel as she is also talking on the phone. She is mentioning to the person on the other line how she doesn't care about what those pinheads say about her show being cut short. It was a total humiliation, a complete embarrassment. Someone from behind calls out Harlene's name as she cuts her call short and turns her attention. It's Dr. Crane. He is wondering how the show went. Says he was hoping to watch it when it was airing, but was too wrapped up within his work. Harlene tells him how they got preempted. Bigger news took hold. Says how they caught Firefly after all those years of trying to find him with no luck at all, as he was in isolation. Crane knows all about him. Tells Madogma that he is on his way to the asylum right now, and in fact, he is the one handling the case. Harlene can't believe what she is hearing. Crane tells her how Firefly may end up in the maximum security wing, in lockdown, and if she is interested, maybe he can introduce the two. They part ways as it is established that they don't like each other, as he calls her a fraud and she calls him a quack. I mean, yeah, literally most doctors are. Crane enters a room with what appears to be Firefly, detained, sitting in a chair to be evaluated and assessed. The detained man notices how Crane isn't Doctor Strange, and notes how he specifically asked to see Dr. Hugo Strange. Jeff Goldblum fills him in on how Doctor Strange is unavailable. He states how they work together, and how you might even call him Hugo's disciple. He introduces himself. He tells Firefly how he got roughed up pretty badly, and asks if he understands why he is there. Firefly replies with how he does. The judge says he is too disturbed to undertake his own defense. He is a menace to himself and others. And suddenly, it's revealed how it's been Bruce all along. Yo, what the fuck? I just want to take a second to say, what in a twist ending is this? Excuse my voice is completely fucking shot right now. Bruce is the Unabomber? Gotham's own Ted Kaczynski? Firefly? Robert Lowery who? He ran off to hide in the woods of Montana to blow places up. He really just said, fuck society, I'm gonna go write manifestos. The judge didn't recognize their very own Bruce Wayne. The Bruce Wayne who, when he disappeared, places started randomly blowing up. I have questions. Lots of them. But our boy tells Dr. Crane how it's true, how he is a menace and a danger to society. The marshals had to rough him up, since he would have killed them if he could. He admits that he is a weapon, a product of society. They start with a man and turn him into a monster. It's what they did to him. Bro, what? What the fuck happened to Bruce? Why is he writing manifestos and sending out bombs under the Firefly alias? Who made him this way? Who hurt him? At the end of 89, issue 6, you can tell that Bruce wasn't exactly all there. I mean, he never exactly is all there, but I mean, like, he seemed pretty well off. I mean, this has got to be Michael Keaton. It can't not be. Look at those eyebrows, lips, and hairline. Although he has a full head of gray hair now, that is undeniably him. But fuck, dude, that was a twist ending if I ever seen a twist ending before. I had to look at that last panel for like 5 minutes to truly understand what I was actually looking at. If that's one way to hook people in to read the second issue after an alright first issue, because I kind of gotta admit that first issue was kind of mid, then goddamn, they succeeded. Because I mean, this issue is alright. A lot of establishing what's kind of been going on within this universe, and a lot of introducing new characters, so can't really expect a whole lot of exciting things to be going on. I didn't care for all that fake Batman shit or all the cop stuff, if I'm being real. I did really like the second half of the issue more than the first. And the Barb stuff was kinda as well. But once they introduced Harleen, I started to enjoy it a lot more. But that's because 90s Madonna was fire, and I've always wanted to see what they're gonna do with this character. The introduction to Dr. Crane was cool. I mean, I just love Scarecrow. And I really hope the rest of this series is more Arkham Asylum centric, so we can spend a lot more time in there trying to figure out what the fuck happened to Bruce. Because what the fuck? And I really just want to know what else happens in this asylum and how Harleen and Dr. Crane come into their lives of being masked villains. I really hope it doesn't take to issue 5 for us to see that, because the front of this issue does showcase Harley and Scarecrow, but we'll see. I just hope they don't rush it either, because that would also be bad. But I'm not getting my hopes up, so I don't get them let down. But please make this series be a good one. Hopefully Drake makes an appearance at some time being Robin, and I really hope he stopped calling himself the Avenging Eagle, but we'll see about that. When I see what looks to be an asylum-centered series with a shattered and confused Bruce Wayne and 2 psychiatric doctors as the antagonists, I really hope that this turns out to be some kind of psychological character study, or just dive deep into the psychological part. Give us this, please. Sam Hamm and Jeff Quinones, fucking do it, you cowards. But anyways, I think this is all that I have for this issue, and I think this is all that my voice has for it as well. I apologize. Again, this issue is alright, nothing really to write home about. A lot of people online are bitching about the lack of Batman and Bruce Wayne, but quite frankly, that doesn't really bother me. The amount of Batman-rich content that is out there that is strictly Batman-focused is literally endless, so I don't mind a change of pace, and I kind of like a change of pace. The character introductions are intriguing enough, with an interesting twist ending, which will definitely make me come back for issue 2, but I'm coming back for all 6 issues anyways. And with that, I'm gonna wrap this up. My name is Freddy Savage, bringing you Batman 89 Echoes, issue 1 with a shot voice, and I'll see you when issue 2 comes out. Peace.